good evening. Wherever you are, whatever your day has been like, this is your moment to rest. Close your eyes, or simply soften your gaze. Let your shoulders drop. Let your breathing slow. There's nothing more for you to do right now. Tonight, we're going far back in time, to a place where stone columns stand tall and olive trees sway quietly in the breeze, to a villa nestled in the warm countryside of ancient Rome. This isn't a tale of emperors or battles, but of soft footsteps on marble floors, of bread baking in clay ovens, of quiet gardens and rooms filled with flickering lamplight. This is the peaceful story of what it was like to live in a Roman villa. A journey into daily life, slow, gentle, and timeless. Let's step inside together. It is early morning. The sun is only just beginning to rise, its golden fingers stretching across the quiet countryside of ancient Latium. A Roman villa nestled between gentle hills and rows of olive trees begins to stir softly from its slumber. The air is still cool, touched by the fading night. A soft breeze moves through the open courtyard, the atrium, carrying with it the faint scent of rosemary and wet stone. Inside, the villa is quiet. Stone walls, cool to the touch, glow faintly in the morning light. Oil lamps flicker in their bronze holders, their flames now low, having burned through the night. A slave boy, no older than 12, carefully opens the wooden shutters. No loud creaking, just a gentle shift, and soft light pouring through carved wooden screens. The patterns cast playful shadows across the tiled floor. In the master's bedroom, the cubiculum, the head of the household, the paterfamilias, lies on a raised bed called a lectus. The mattress is filled with wool and covered with a deep red fabric, dyed from crushed madder roots. Beside him, on a small table, sits a ceramic jug of water, a silver cup, and a folded linen cloth. He awakens not to an alarm, but to the sounds of the villa itself, the gentle chirp of birds nesting in the garden trees, the distant murmuring of servants beginning their chores, and the faint gurgle of the villa's indoor fountain. He rises slowly, feet finding leather sandals set out the night before. He washes his face with cool water, patted dry by linen. No soap, but olive oil and a dull bronze strigil to cleanse the skin. Outside his room, the peristyle garden waits in stillness. Columns of pale stone surround a square patch of greenery. The grass is short, and tidy rows of lavender and sage grow between shaped bushes. In the center, a small fountain trickles gently, the water running over a statue of Venus. Here, the villa awakens without urgency. There are no clocks ticking, no phones ringing. Only the rhythm of nature, the traditions of household order, and the comfort of routine. Even the youngest members of the household, the children, begin their day not with stress, but with slow stretches, warm honeyed bread, and soft chatter in the garden. The villa is a world unto itself, calm, complete, and deeply still. As the morning light deepens, the villa eases into its daily rhythm. The warm scent of bread begins to drift from the rear of the house, not from an oven, but from a klibanis, a portable dome-shaped clay baker's stove, glowing gently with embers. In the kulina, or kitchen, a cook in a short tunic carefully tends the flames. There is no rush, only a gentle focus. He sprinkles flour on a smooth stone slab and kneads dough slowly with practiced hands. The dough had rested overnight, covered in linen and resting in the cool air near the open kitchen window. Nearby, a small bowl of honey sits waiting, along with a few figs and a wedge of cheese. A pot of barley porridge simmers softly in the corner, giving off a nutty, comforting aroma. Servants quietly prepare the triclinium, the villa's dining room. Though Roman villas often used the triclinium for formal evening feasts, the family occasionally dines there in the quiet of morning. The room is long and airy, with 3 couches forming a U around a central low table. Walls are painted in soft hues, ochre and faded crimson, with faded frescoes of mythological scenes. A mosaic floor gleams faintly with dew that snuck in during the cool night. The paterfamilias, now dressed in a fresh white tunic with a broad stripe down the middle, a sign of his senatorial rank, enters the room. Behind him come his wife, the materfamilias, draped in a pale stola, her dark hair braided and tied back with a ribbon of wool. Their steps are slow, steady, as though the air itself encourages them not to hurry. Their youngest daughter joins, barefoot, hair still tousled from sleep. She curls beside her mother, picking at dates and watching the morning light flicker through the lattice work on the walls. They eat lightly, a piece of bread dipped in honey, a cup of watered wine, not for intoxication, but tradition. A bite of soft cheese, a spoonful of porridge from a terracotta bowl. They speak softly of the weather, of the birds nesting above the atrium, of which olives are ripening on the trees. There is no need to rush into politics or trade just yet. There is time. There is always time here. After breakfast, each person moves into their morning duties. The master heads to his study, the tablinum, to dictate letters or meet with local land stewards. The lady of the house visits the storeroom, checking on the oils, grains, and linen supplies with her chief maidservant. The children prepare for lessons, gathering scrolls of Homer and Virgil beneath their arms. The villa, now fully awake, hums with quiet activity. But the pace remains soft, guided by the rhythms of sunlight, tradition, and silence. Even the animals seem to understand. A slender dog naps beside the garden wall. Chickens cluck gently in their pen, watched over by an old servant who hums as he scatters grain into the dust. This is how a Roman day begins, with peace, routine, and a reverence for slow living. The sun has now risen high enough to warm the tops of the garden walls, casting soft light through the leafy branches of laurel and fig. In the villa, the morning has grown still again, not with sleep, but with focus. In a small room, just beyond the peristyle, we find the tablinum, the master's study. It opens into both the garden and the atrium, allowing gentle breezes to pass through. There are no glass windows, only open arches and wooden shutters, allowing light and shadow to play gently across the tiled floor. The walls are simple, painted in soft earth tones. Shelves hold scrolls wrapped in linen, each carefully labeled in red ink. These are works of Cicero, Pliny, Livy, and Homer, copied by hand, rolled with care, and tied with cords of flax. The master sits at Electus Lucubratorius, a cushioned writing couch angled toward a low table. His stylus scratches slowly across a sheet of parchment as he dictates a letter to his secretary, a trusted Greek scribe seated beside him. The language is formal, yet calm. There is no rush. A thought might take minutes to shape, and a sentence a whole hour. That is how things are done here, with care, with clarity, with intention. The only sounds are the light rustling of scrolls, the chirp of cicadas in the courtyard, and the occasional soft cough from the scribe. Not far away, in another chamber, the children settle onto stools beside a retired tutor, a kindly older man with fading hair and a calm voice. He unrolls a scroll slowly, revealing lines from the Aeneid. He reads aloud in Latin first, his voice a soft chant, then again in Greek, slower, more measured. The children follow, not forced, but encouraged, mouthing the words and pausing to ask questions. They're not only taught letters and verse, but also the proper way to sit, to speak, to listen. Education here is not about competition, but grace. Learning is a privilege, a mark of refinement and respect, a slow flowering of the mind. Outside the room, a servant girl crouches beside a fountain, rinsing linens and watching the wind ripple across the water's surface. She listens to the Latin verses, even if she doesn't understand them fully. They are music to her, part of the soft, slow rhythm of villa life. In this house, knowledge is quiet. It does not shout or race. It drifts like smoke from an incense burner, curling slowly through the air, absorbed, not forced. As the sun climbs toward its peak, the villa begins to slow again. The sounds of the morning, the soft shuffling of servants, the whisper of scrolls, the quiet murmur of lessons begin to fade. Now comes a ritual loved by all. The bath. Not rushed, not purely for cleansing, but as a moment of stillness, of warmth, of pleasure. Within the villa, in a special wing near the garden, lies the balneum, the private bathhouse. A low doorway opens to a cool chamber, lined in polished stone. Light filters through high, narrow windows. Inside, the air is quiet, warm, but never stifling. 3 connected rooms make up the bath. The tepidarium, or warm room, the caldarium, the hot, steamy bath, and the frigidarium, the cold plunge. The paterfamilias enters first, guided by a servant holding a small brass oil lamp. He steps into the tepidarium, where warm air lingers in the marble-lined space. The floors are heated gently from beneath by the hypocaust, a Roman invention where fire warms hollow bricks, creating a soft, radiant heat. There are no sharp scents, only the earthy aroma of steam, olive oil, and clean stone. He disrobes slowly, placing his tunic on a wooden bench. A servant gently pours water from a bronze jug over his shoulders. The master breathes deeply. Time slows. Next, he moves into the caldarium, the steamy room, dimly lit with a shallow stone pool. The steam curls in the air like a veil. He steps into the warm water, closing his eyes, shoulders loosening. A young boy rubs olive oil gently into his skin, then scrapes it away with a strigil, a curved metal blade used not harshly, but like a brush of wind. The process is not hurried. Each motion is patient, soothing. Finally, he passes into the frigidarium, where a cool plunge awaits. The cold water shocks for only a moment, then refreshes, clears the mind. He lingers there, silent, letting his body float, arms outstretched beneath a painted ceiling of stars. The mater familias has her own space, more private, just as peaceful. Warm water is drawn in terracotta tubs. She sits on a carved bench, oil rubbed into her skin by gentle hands. Her hair is combed slowly, perfumed lightly with crushed rose petals. Children are bathed too, not scrubbed, but patted gently, singing soft songs learned from nurses long ago. Their laughter is hushed, like the sound of wind chimes in a distant hall. No clocks measure this moment. The bath is done when the heart feels ready, when breath has slowed and limbs have softened. They dry with linen cloths and don fresh garments. Tunics made of light wool or fine cotton, scented faintly with lavender from the garden. The bath is not an interruption. It is a restoration, a return to one's quiet center. The midday heat settles gently over the villa like a warm shawl. Outside, the air is still. Cicadas hum steadily in the trees, their sound blending with the soft rustle of olive leaves in the breeze. Inside, the villa moves slowly. These are hours not meant for labor or learning, but for leisure. After their bath, the family returns to the peristyle garden, that serene, open courtyard ringed with columns and shaded by vines. The stone is warm beneath their sandals, and the scent of crushed herbs lingers in the air. Thyme, lavender, basil. The mater familias walks slowly along the garden's edge, her fingers trailing over the tops of shrubs, trimmed into gentle spirals. A small woven basket hangs from her wrist, and she plucks a few sprigs of rosemary for the evening meal. She hums an old lullaby, one she remembers from her childhood on a distant country estate. The children follow, quiet now, holding fig leaves like little fans. The youngest kneels to observe a trail of ants carrying breadcrumbs, giggling softly. Her older brother holds a wax tablet, sketching the shapes of leaves with his stylus, enjoying the curve of each line. At the far end of the garden, near a shaded alcove, sits a low marble bench. Here, the paterfamilias reclines once again, this time not to read or write, but to think, perhaps to sip a cup of posca, a diluted, vinegary drink, or simply to watch the bees drift lazily from flower to flower. Servants bring bowls of olives, dried apricots, and a small dish of soft cheese. Everything is shared. There is no noise, no clatter, only the faint splash of the garden fountain, where water trickles down a statue of a sea nymph. In the gynoeceum, the women's private quarters, some light needlework begins. The mater familias and her eldest daughter sit with open baskets of dyed wool and linen. The threads are soft shades, dusky rose, gentle ochre, a pale shade of green pulled from nettles. They embroider not grand scenes, but familiar ones. A deer in the woods, a vine curling around a lampstand, a basket of apples. Their hands move in rhythm, slow and sure, the needles dipping in and out of the fabric like birds in flight. They speak in quiet tones, not of gossip or politics, but of dreams, of stories, of how the sky looked just before dawn. Elsewhere in the villa, an old servant carves a flute from olive wood, not because he must, but because it brings him peace. He sits beneath a fig tree, legs crossed, eyes half closed as he shaves the wood smooth, then tests a note. A low, wandering sound, soft enough to blend into the breeze. The entire villa, in these hours, becomes a cradle of peace. Nothing is expected. Nothing urgent stirs. It is a time of quiet, of presence, of breath. And the sun, still high, bathes the columns in gold. As the sun dips lower toward the western hills, the Roman villa begins to prepare for the evening. Not hurriedly, not with clamor, but with quiet ceremony. The golden light spills into the atrium, flickering across the surface of the central water basin, the impluvium, where droplets from the roof's open sky window ripple in slow circles. Servants move lightly through the halls, lighting oil lamps set into wall sconces, each one casting a warm, flickering glow across the painted walls. The day's heat has lessened now. A coolness rises from the marble underfoot. The scent of the evening meal begins to drift through the air. Roasted lentils with leeks, wild herbs, and fresh-baked bread wrapped in cloth to keep it warm. In the kulina, the cook works silently beside the hearth, stirring a pot of spiced wine, mulsum, sweetened with honey and cinnamon bark. The fire is soft, low, steady, not roaring, but purring like a sleepy cat. Pots of brass and clay glimmer faintly. A wooden cutting board holds slices of goat's cheese, dates stuffed with nuts, and slices of boiled eggs dusted with ground coriander. Before dinner, the family gathers once more in the peristyle garden. This is their last moment of outdoor light. The birds sing a little more slowly now, and the flowers seem to nod their heads towards sleep. Someone plays a gentle melody on a lyre, slow, calming notes that fall like petals to the stone floor. As the sky turns dusky lavender, they return to the triclinium, not for a feast tonight, but for a small, quiet evening meal. Reclining lightly on the couches, their garments soft and unadorned, they share bowls and laughter and moments of silence in between. The youngest child curls up beside her mother, too sleepy to eat much, lulled by the hum of voices and the warm scent of rosemary. When the meal is done, a slave enters with a brass bowl and jug, pouring water gently over the family's hands, a custom of grace, not necessity. Towels of linen follow. Everything is clean, simple, slow. Later, in the lararium, the family's small shrine to household gods, a candle is lit and a quiet offering is placed. A crumb of bread, a drop of wine, a whisper of thanks. Not loudly, not performative, but in the hush of tradition. Back in the halls, the fire in the hearth is reduced to embers. The servants tidy without sound, sweeping gently, folding cloth, refilling oil lamps. The floors are cool. The shadows are long. The day is not ending. It is gently folding itself away. Night comes softly to the villa, not suddenly, not with fanfare, but with a slow fading of light, a deepening of shadows, and the gentle hush of the wind. The sky above turns from dusty rose to indigo, then into a deep velvet black, scattered with the flickering silver of stars, each one reflected in the still water of the impluvium and in the quiet eyes of those who gaze upward. In the cubicula, the family's sleeping chambers, servants draw light curtains across the doorways. They smooth cool linens over the beds, simple wooden frames topped with wool-stuffed mattresses, soft enough to cradle the limbs, but firm enough to soothe a tired body. The paterfamilias rests beside a small oil lamp, the flame steady and small. He runs his fingers over a worn scroll he has read many times before, not to finish it, but to feel its words like prayer beads, known by heart. He closes it, satisfied, and lets his breath slow. The materfamilias tucks the smallest child into a little bed near hers. She brushes back curls from the child's forehead, then leans to whisper a story. Not a tale of war or gods, but of a simple goose who wandered too far and found a new garden, a gentle parable passed down from her grandmother. The child's eyes flutter like petals in the wind. Her breaths grow deeper, longer. Sleep tugs gently, like the tide. Elsewhere in the villa, a servant drapes a woven blanket over an old man napping by the hearth. The fire has faded to a bed of red-orange coals, casting a sleepy glow across the floor. A dog curls beside it, one ear twitching as he dreams. On the rooftop terrace, a teenage boy lies on his back beside a low clay lantern, staring up at the stars. He traces constellations with his fingertip in the air. Orion, Aquila, Lyra, names taught to him by his tutor, now floating like distant music in his memory. The night smells of crushed mint and dew-wet stone. Down in the kitchen, the final pot is cleaned. The last jug of water is placed near the door. The villa now sighs, not in exhaustion, but in contentment. All things are still. The walls hold centuries of breath. The columns listen. The stars keep watch. The night here is not feared. It is welcomed, like an old friend returning with gifts of stillness, of healing, of dreams. And in this Roman villa, on this quiet night, every soul drifts gently into sleep, wrapped in linen, bathed in moonlight, held in silence, until the birds call the morning once again in the grand Roman villa, while the family sleeps, stirs, and lives in comfort. There is a softer rhythm beneath the surface, a hush of movement, a murmur of care, carried by the servants. They do not wear togas or gold rings. They do not speak first in any room. But the life of the villa flows through their hands like water in the aqueduct. They are called servi, slaves, yes, in name and Roman law. But many are born here and know no other world but the villa's walls, the garden's earth, the quiet pulse of duties performed without sound. Long before the sun rises, the villa's life begins with them. The Kulina servant, often an older woman with steady fingers, lights the first fire in the kitchen hearth. She doesn't rush. She stacks the olive branches just so, breathes gently into the coal, and waits for the orange glow to blossom. The flames speak in whispers. The pot above it warms like a held breath. Another servant carries a jar to the well, terracotta, cool and curved, returning with water that still smells of stone and night air. He places it near the family's doors for their morning ablutions. In the tablinum, a young scribe prepares the wax tablets and sets out ink, smoothing out the desk without leaving a wrinkle on the cloth. He knows which scroll the master read last night and leaves it open to the next page. Their reward is not gold nor praise. It is peace, a life lived in order, and sometimes a single kind glance or nod at dusk. Some servants tend the hortus, the garden, weeding gently, harvesting figs, tying reeds around young vines. They don't speak loudly. Birds would flee. Bees would hesitate. And in Rome, quiet work is trusted work. Others manage the storerooms, taking inventory with quiet eyes, jars of garum, sacks of grain, dried herbs hung like bouquets in the ceiling's shade. In the laundry room, steam rises as linens are boiled with ash soap and scrubbed smooth against stone basins. The women there hum softly, not songs of sorrow, but of rhythm and memory. Songs passed from mother to daughter even in servitude. Young servants carry notes to neighboring villas or sweep mosaic floors with brushes made of straw and olive twigs. They know which tile creaks, which wall is coolest in summer. Their knowledge is silent, but deep. Not all is toil. In the heat of the afternoon, even the servants pause. A boy sits beneath the olive tree, sipping barley water. His friend, barely older, practices letters in the dust with a stick. A kind mistress might pass them grapes. A kind master may let them listen to stories told to his own sons. Some servants are even educators, tutors brought from Greece, wise in mathematics and astronomy, treated not with harshness, but honor. They live between two worlds, not quite family, not quite free, but deeply woven into the villa's soul. There are cooks who create flavors like art, gardeners who whisper to plants, cleaners who know the exact rhythm of washing a marble step. They do not sleep in silken beds, but in modest quarters near the storerooms. Still, their dreams are soft. Still, they laugh among each other at dusk. Still, they sing when the hearth has gone quiet. The Roman year moves slowly, like a measured breath, marked by the gentle turning of nature's wheel. Though many know of grand festivals and bustling forums within the villa walls, these celebrations hold a quieter grace, moments of reflection, of gratitude, and of soft togetherness. As winter's chill yields to the gentle warmth of spring, the villa breathes new life. Vines awaken from sleep, flowers unfurl shy petals in the peristyle garden. Servants bring in bundles of fresh herbs, mint, rosemary, and thyme, to hang in small bunches around the rooms, filling the air with healing scents. The family prepares the lararium with special offerings, fresh figs, honey cakes, and sweet wine. This small shrine, often overlooked in grander histories, is the heart of their quiet reverence. In spring, the festival of Perilia is observed. Though originally a shepherd's rite, here it is softened to a ritual of cleansing. Gentle sprinklings of water, small fires of rosemary burned to chase away lingering winter shadows. The day is slow, peaceful, and rich with small acts of care. Summer days stretch long and lazy, and the villa becomes a refuge from the sun's stronger touch. Shaded corners in the garden offer rest, with servants weaving simple wreaths of laurel and wildflowers to wear. The family might recline by the impluvium, dipping their fingers into the cool water, savoring figs and fresh cheese. The festival of Venalia brings quiet joy, a day to honor the grape harvest and the goddess Venus. The family raises a small cup of new wine in the peristyle, whispering thanks, their voices low and soft like a breeze. Evenings become moments for storytelling, tales of gentle heroes and kind gods, told in low tones beneath the olive trees. Lanterns glow like fireflies, and cicadas sing their steady chorus. When autumn arrives, the villa is wrapped in warm golds and reds. The olive trees bear fruit heavy on their branches, ready for harvest. Servants gather olives in woven baskets, careful not to bruise the fruit. The oil pressed from them will be treasured through the cold months, a gift of the earth, pressed slowly by stone mills. The family prepares a simple feast of roasted chestnuts, barley porridge, and spiced pears. They eat slowly, savoring each bite, their voices hushed as the sun sets early behind distant hills. The festival of Pomona, goddess of fruit and abundance, is observed with quiet gratitude. Small statues of her stand in the garden, surrounded by apples and pomegranates. Winter is a time of rest and reflection. The villa is quieter now, the garden resting beneath frost's gentle hand. Fires burn longer in the hearth, and the family gathers close under woolen wraps. The festival of Saturnalia, known to be lively in cities, here is softened into a tender time of kindness. Small gifts are exchanged, woven cloth, simple jewelry, or a sweet cake, offered with a gentle smile. The lararium candle burns steadily, a light in the long night. Outside, the wind sings softly through the columns, and the stars seem closer, brighter. As twilight deepens into night, and the villa's quiet settles softly around every room, it is time for stories, whispered tales carried like warm wool over tired shoulders. In a small, dimly lit cubicula, the family gathers close. The flicker of a single oil lamp paints gentle shadows on the painted walls, scenes of gods, nymphs, and distant lands. The youngest child snuggles into her mother's arms, eyes wide but sleepy, ready to drift into dreams. The materfamilias begins, her voice low and tender, weaving stories passed down through generations, not of thunderous battles or harsh fates, but of soft magic and kind spirits. There is the tale of Fauna, the gentle goddess of forests and fields. She moves quietly among the trees, her touch coaxing flowers to bloom and the deer to rest peacefully. Her presence is felt like a cool breeze on a warm day, a quiet blessing on the earth. Then comes the story of Janus, the two-faced god of beginnings and endings. His story is not one of fear, but of transition. How he watches over every door, every moment, when one thing softly closes and another begins, much like the day slipping into night or wakefulness into sleep. The child's breath slows, her eyes fluttering closed like petals folding at dusk. The mother's voice softens further, describing the Luna, the Roman moon goddess, who rides her chariot across the night sky, bathing the world in silver light. She is a silent guardian, watching over dreams and keeping shadows at bay. Outside, the night holds its breath. The stars twinkle quietly, as if listening. The villa seems to breathe with the rhythm of the story, slow, steady, and sure. And so, beneath the watchful eyes of kind gods and gentle spirits, the family drifts into sleep, wrapped in warmth, peace, and the soft magic of ancient whispers. As days turn to years, the Roman villa lives not only in stone and wood, but also in the memories of those who dwell within. The walls, once new and shining, soften with age, their cracks like gentle wrinkles telling stories of time past. The villa is a place where generations come and go, grandparents, parents, children, each leaving a quiet mark, like footprints on soft earth. Sometimes, in the fading light of evening, the family might pause near the atrium, gazing upon the frescoes painted years before. These images of gods, mythic scenes, and lush gardens are more than decoration. They are stories, frozen in time, passed lovingly from one generation to the next. An elder might tell tales of when the villa was first built, how the stones were carried and placed by strong, patient hands, how the first olive trees were planted and watched grow. Their voice is soft, like the rustle of leaves. The children listen, eyes wide, imagining lives long ago. The footsteps of ancestors echoing faintly through the halls. The garden, too, is a keeper of time. Some trees are ancient, their twisted trunks weathered but strong. The scent of jasmine or rosemary may remind the family of warm summers past. Seasons come and go, but the garden stays, a quiet witness to births, celebrations, and farewells. A young child may plant a seed, unaware that the small sprout will one day shade the very place where they now sit, cradled in a grandmother's arms. The hearth is the villa's heart, burning steadily through all the years. It is where stories are told, meals are shared, and warmth is given freely. Even as time moves forward, the flame flickers on, tended carefully by servants and family alike. Sometimes, in the deep night, the flickering shadows on the walls seem to dance gently, as if remembering every whispered word, every soft laugh, every tear. Life in the villa is a circle, gentle endings leading to quiet beginnings. As one generation slips softly into memory, another takes its place, continuing the slow rhythm of daily life. The villa holds all these moments within its stones, its gardens, and its walls, a sanctuary of peace, of love, and of time well spent. And so the villa rests, breathing softly in the calm night air, ready to greet the next dawn with quiet grace. Time flows endlessly, and even the grandest villas cannot hold forever against its quiet passage. But the villa's end is not harsh or sudden. It is soft, like a sigh, a gentle closing of a long, peaceful story. As years stretch on, families move, cities grow, and sometimes the villa stands empty for a while, the laughter and footsteps fading slowly into silence. The olive trees still whisper with the wind, and the garden continues its quiet growth, untended but alive. Wildflowers bloom where once carefully planted beds flourished. The walls, worn by sun and rain, begin to crumble softly, stones loosening like leaves falling in autumn. Birds find shelter in the open windows and broken columns. Vines weave themselves through cracks in the stone, tenderly cloaking the villa in green. A soft carpet of moss and wild grass spreads across the once swept floors, inviting small creatures to make their homes. The air is sweet with earth and growing things, a calm presence settling where human voices once filled the halls. In the stillness, if one listens closely, it seems the villa breathes with memory, a soft echo of past footsteps, whispered stories, and quiet moments shared beneath the stars. The villa has become a place where time slows, where the boundary between past and present gently fades. Though no one tends the fires now, the spirit of the villa remains, resting beneath the sky, wrapped in the gentle arms of nature. The stones hold their secrets softly, the garden blooms in quiet abandon, and the night sky stretches endlessly above. The villa sleeps peacefully, a gentle guardian of forgotten days, waiting patiently, timeless and serene. Now, as the night deepens and the world quiets completely, the Roman villa sings its softest lullaby. Its story, woven from years of calm days and peaceful nights, wraps around you like a warm, familiar blanket. Outside, the stars sparkle quietly, their gentle light a soft glow on the sleeping earth. The moon, high and steady, watches over the villa's stones, the olive trees, and the gardens now resting beneath a velvet sky. The breeze carries the faint scent of rosemary and jasmine, mingling with the cool night air, a natural perfume that soothes the soul and calms the mind. Feel your breath slow, softening with each gentle inhale and exhale. Imagine the villa's warm stone walls, still holding the day's last warmth, now cooling peacefully in the night. Hear the faint rustle of leaves in the olive grove, a natural lullaby sung just for you. Let your eyes grow heavy, your body relax into the quiet calm, as the villa's gentle spirit guides you deeper and deeper into rest. As you rest, Imagine the villa's timeless presence surrounding you, a place of comfort, peace, and gentle memories. Let the quiet stories and soft whispers of the past lull you into sweet dreams, and when morning comes, you will awake refreshed, carrying the villa's calm spirit with you into the new day. As the villa settles into quiet sleep, so do we, wrapped in the calm embrace of night. May your dreams be gentle, like the soft rustle of olive leaves in a midnight breeze. May your heart be light, your mind at ease, as you float into peaceful rest. Remember the warmth of ancient stone walls, the tender glow of flickering lamps, and the whispered stories shared beneath the moon. Sleep well, dear friend. Good night.